My name is David Toothman. I'm the patrol agent in charge of the Santa Teresa Border Patrol Station. I'm currently acting as Division Chief of Operations for El Paso Sector Border Patrol. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out here this morning on such short notice and introduce to you the Chief Patrol Agent of El Paso Sector, Aaron A. Hull.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Like Dave said, thank you for joining us here. I'd also like to recognize and thank Colonel Hildebrand of the Texas National Guard for hosting this event. We had the pleasure of meeting with Colonel Hildebrand and General Cheney earlier this week, talking about Texas Guard capabilities, and also had the chance to meet with General Bump, New Mexico National Guard, a little earlier this week as well. We are blessed here in El Paso sector to be able to work with both the Texas National Guard and the New Mexico National Guard, and we've had a great relationship with both for many years. We've already conducted our initial planning and coordination meetings. We're in the process of completing our site surveys for their deployment and have begun the vetting process for the individuals that are going to be working with us. We are going to move into the next phase. As we continue that, we're going to begin to schedule training for the Guard personnel that are going to be working with us, helping them to operate our systems, our surveillance systems, our cameras, radios, sensors, helping us to maintain our infrastructure and our fleet, providing the logistical and support capabilities that will enable us to do our law enforcement mission on the border. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Ronald D. Vitiello. Chief Vitiello is Chief of the United States Border Patrol and the Acting Deputy Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. He's going to provide a strategic overview of the National Guard deployment and their role in helping us to maintain border security here in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Colonel, for your hospitality, and thank you all for being here today. I'd like to discuss a little bit about our activation of the National Guard on behalf of U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the DHS mission. CBP has one of the most complex law enforcement missions in the world. Part of that mission, as the name suggests, is protecting the border. Nearly 7,500 miles of land border, as well as thousands of miles of square miles of coastal waters. Our country's border with Mexico is critically important. Economically, the stakes are high. $1.45 billion per day in two-way trade. Nearly 1 million people legally cross between the United States and Mexico every day. While we manage the efficient flow of lawful trade and travel across the borders, we are equally committed to national security. As DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen says, border security is national security. That's an undeniable fact, and that's why we are building more infrastructure, seeking new hires, and applying new technologies that ensure our agents and officers have the resources they need to do their jobs. More than 1,000 people a day, nearly 300,000 per year, illegally enter the country. That's not acceptable, so we appreciate the support we have received from this administration. On April 4th, the President directed CBP's parent agency, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Defense to work with the nation's governors to activate the National Guard personnel and bring them to the southwest border. DHS and the Department of Defense work well together. We have partnered for decades with the DoD on counter-narcotics missions, infrastructure construction, surveillance operations, training, and aerial support throughout the Western Hemisphere. The National Guard will perform many operational support functions, including monitoring cameras and sensor feeds, to assist with overall situational awareness on the border. They will provide much needed aerial support, and we anticipate they will help with roads and vehicle maintenance, among other duties. National Guard members will provide added surveillance, engineering, administrative, and mechanical support to agents on the front line. The Guard will immediately expand our capabilities at the border, which will increase our effectiveness in our law enforcement operations. To be clear, border security will remain a civilian law enforcement capability and responsibility. The National Guard will serve in support of that capacity, but not be directly involved in enforcement roles. CBP and our colleagues across DHS are working tirelessly to secure the border and bring it into operational control. Our apprehensions in fiscal year 2017 were at the lowest level in 45 years. That said, we have experienced a significant increase over the past 12 months, a 1,200% increase in apprehensions, including significant increases in the number of family units and unaccompanied children. This uptick underscores that in order for us to truly secure the border, we need the support of the National Guard, we need a border wall in our most vulnerable locations, we need infrastructure, technology, and more agents. We also need legislative reform to close immigration loopholes. Current loopholes in the immigration law pertaining to family units and unaccompanied children have created a dramatic pull for illegal immigrants and an influx of funds for the transnational criminal organizations. They benefit by funneling migrants into the nation illegally. It's dangerous for parents to place the lives of their children into the hands of smugglers and transnational criminal organizations who have no respect for human life. Our officers and agents have heard many testimonies of the evil perpetrated against these migrants. Under the leadership of the President, we have a renewed commitment from the White House to bring operational control to the border and invest in border security. This is a strong mission that CBP can do and better support our border and the nation. CBP lives up to its name each and every day. Our agents, our officers at our ports of entry along our thousands of miles of border, and we are thoroughly committed to enforcing our nation's laws and protecting the homeland. I couldn't be prouder of the brave men and women of our front line. Thank you for being here. So not clear on the cost on the national deployment. It's up to 4,000 is the planning number that we're working with. And then locally, I think the chief has some.
Yeah, we're still finalizing those plans. We're still conducting our site surveys and taking a look at the people we're going to need and where we're going to need them. And we should know very soon, but we don't have a number for you yet.
Chief, to follow up on that, are there specific missions for the El Paso sector that might be a little bit different than other sectors that you're looking at the Guard to perform?
Well, yes, I think that's to be expected. The difference in the needs along the southwest border from San Diego to Brownsville are going to be quite different. I mean, we've got a desert terrain. They're looking further east at a river situation. The capabilities that the Guard can bring to bear in all of these locations are important to us, and we're assessing our particular needs based upon the resources we have in each individual location. The resources we're looking at here in El Paso sector, like I said, are surveillance capabilities, camera support, people to monitor our sensors, and infrastructure support, help us maintain our fleet. So we're looking at a variety of capabilities that they can provide, as well as air support.
And will the infrastructure support, will the Guards going to be involved at all in construction on barriers?
That's not the plan at this time. There's a lot of, infrastructure entails a lot of things. We've been referring to it a lot this week, and specifically in terms of wall. But there are a lot of border roads, a lot of features in the border environment that we have to traverse to get back and forth from the line, and they can assist us with some of those.
Yes, sir. Will the Guard be deployed in Big Bend sector, and if so, will they be deployed in Big Bend National Park?
Big Bend sector will partake in the support that the Guard's given us. They have a mission requirement as well. As far as the park is concerned, I just don't know.
And do you know how many will be deployed?
We haven't finalized the plans. When the plans are ready and signed off on by both the Guard Bureau, the departments, and us, then we'll be able to give you a specific number.
So when will these, or are they already here, when will they arrive?
There are a few people here. There's a planning cell both at the headquarters in Washington, D.C. The chief has members of a planning cell that are sitting down with folks from Border Patrol and the Guard to design the operational plan and certify the requirements.
Right here. Did the Guard work with the El Paso sector during previous deployments under Governors Perry and current Governor Abbott, or is this the first time it's going to be in El Paso sector in a while?
No, we've got a relationship with the Texas Guard going back many years. I mean, if you look at the previous deployments under several presidents, you look at the counter-drug efforts they've assisted us with, we have a long-standing relationship, and this is really the next phase of that.
And will they be deployed at national ports of entry or just work for
We're discussing that now with the Guard. We feel like there is some work that can be done in helping facilitate trade and cargo searches. The plans for that will be in a subsequent iteration of a request we make through the department.
Commissioner, some of the governors have expressed concern that the Guard works with the state institutes, not with federal agencies. Who gives them their marching orders? How do you coordinate that from your offices to the Guard office?
What CBP and DHS have done is designed a request for assistance that gets vetted by the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, and it goes to the Guard Bureau, and then that is translated and communicated to the governors, and they are the final arbiter of the chain of command to decide which of their troops will be utilized in which mission. So the governors are very important partners, and we thank them for their support. As soon as we get the refined request for assistance, we design the missions, communicate with the states, and get their approval to deploy, then you'll start to see them in the field.
Commissioner, follow-ups, video surfaced this week of some people being processed, not processed through the Mexican consulate, and the Border Patrol was shipping them back into Mexico, not following their own procedures. Some have speculated that's to keep the numbers low. What has been done on that front? Is that a new policy to do that, or how are you control?
I'm aware of the incident that you spoke about on the video. The CBP has a statement out on that. I'll refer you to that.
Do you know how long this deployment is going to last, or is there an idea of this time? Is what it is?
We don't have an end date in mind. We do have this goal to obtain operational control on the border that was given to us in the legislation back in 2006. It was reiterated by the President in January last year in some of the executive orders. So once we have a condition that we can explain to you, the public, and ourselves, that's the conditions-based deployment. When that is certified, that's when we're going to talk about drawdown.
Thank you all for coming, we appreciate it.
Thank you.